Central Coast News right now. This is breaking news.
A young girl with a history of suicidal thoughts and PTSD is missing from San Jose. Savannah O'Donnell, seen here, was last seen yesterday after running away from her home. Police just released this information within the last 90 minutes. They say that she is a danger to herself and may not be taking her medications. I've been in contact with San Jose police, and they told me that she could be anywhere. If you see her on the Central Coast, please call 408-277-8900. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mark Cotorobles.
And I'm Jasmine Veal. Now this, a deadly officer-involved shooting investigation is underway right now in Salinas. It is the second such case in nearly 2 weeks.
Well, the suspect killed this afternoon, accused of waving garden shears and lunging at officers.
Central Coast News reporter Michelle Polito has been gathering information on scene all day. And Michelle, police are saying that they have evidence of what happened.
Yeah, that's right, Jazz. And let me go ahead and just kind of zoom out here. Right now, you can actually see a CHP helicopter out here that's circling the scene. We're still unclear of exactly what it is that they're doing, but I will tell you this, that the minute I got out here on scene, many residents in this east side neighborhood were extremely upset about the shooting. It got to the point where many of them were shouting at officers and questioning the officers' actions. Now, the people that you see right behind me, well, that doesn't even compare to how many people were out here hours earlier. Now, officers first responded to the scene at about 12 p.m. after they received a call about a man trying to break into the back door of a house and attacking the woman's dog. When officers arrived, they found a man with a large gardening shears walking along Del Monte Avenue. The officers asked him multiple times, both in Spanish and English, to drop the weapon, but they say the man did not comply.
Is what I saw, a police brutality, police killing, another police killing in Salinas.
When you're carrying a knife in such a fashion that it's endangering other people's lives, that's when it becomes a very serious matter. And when the police arrive and you're still carrying these items, whether it's a knife, a sword, pocket knife, large knife, gardening shears, or anything that could hurt somebody, I mean, that becomes a very serious matter. And it's a very unfortunate situation that we have here, no matter what perspective you look at.
Detectives say they have a video that was taken at the time of the shooting to prove the suspect was using his weapon to attack the officers. And at this time, they believe officers gave the suspect every chance to comply. They also add that the officers used the appropriate force. Now, one thing that investigators want to make clear is to let the community know that they need to stop making judgments based on what other people are telling them. They want to make sure that these people are focusing on the facts that are given to them instead of listening to other people's remarks. Now, as of right now, officers are still on scene as they continue with this investigation. Michelle Polito, live in Salinas, your Central Coast News.
Yeah, and still a heavy presence there. As you mentioned, we saw that helicopter from CHP above. And as mentioned, this is the second person shot and killed by Salinas police in 2 weeks. Many people in the community have rallied together. I mean, take a look at this. Right now, it's standing room only at the Salinas City Council meeting. Protesters are gathered to ask the City Council to look into all officer-involved shootings over the last 10 years. They're also calling for officers to be better trained. The city says it will not comment on these ongoing investigations. This rally, though, was already planned even before today's incident there on North Sanborn. Look at this eye coverage of what was happening last night with the same group, much of the same, a peaceful protest to express outrage over the shooting death of Osman Hernandez at Mi Pueblo back on May 9th. Salinas police say Hernandez was seen waving a knife in the parking lot there after drinking at a nearby bar and would not drop his weapon. Well, some good news to report tonight on a Soledad police sergeant who was stabbed yesterday. He's been released from the hospital. 2 other people hurt are also recovering from their injuries.
It began when an elderly couple was allegedly attacked by their grandson inside their 2nd Street home. Central Coast News reporter Cassandra Arsenault is now live in Soledad. She's been speaking with some of the first responders who were on scene moments after the stabbings just 24 hours ago. Cassie?
Well, Mark, today, Soledad police confirmed to me that the 17-year-old suspect has been cleared by a Bay Area hospital of any physical injuries. But now the police told me he's on what they're calling a 5150 mental evaluation hold. All of this because of wounds to his chest, and they want to make sure that's not self-inflicted. Now, CAL FIRE, whose emergency crews responded to the call, said it was tasked with managing a large operation on this call. There were 4 medical helicopter landings as well as other emergency response crews. Battalion chief said a response is unusual like this. He's only seen one once like it before.
On the freeway down in South Monterey County, but we had tons of area and they all showed up in rather quick succession. Here we kind of had to have them hang back a little bit, load the patient, make sure the fly out area was safe. They would launch, and then we would direct the next ship to land.
Investigators say they do not know the suspect's motive. He was not given a police statement because of the mental hold I told you about before. Now, 2 elderly victims are in the ICU but are stable. They're going to give a statement to the police once they're out of the ICU. Live in Soledad, I'm Cassandra Arsenal, your Central Coast News.
Cassie, thanks for the update this evening. And now a crash that sounded so loud a woman thought that her house had exploded. Tonight, she is still cleaning up the mess after a street sweeper careened through her home in Monterey this morning. We began with some eye coverage photos from Michelle Robertson, who was across the street snapping these pics shortly after. You can see fire crews on scene. Now, the large truck involved apparently had a mechanical failure and rolled backwards down the hill on Prescott Avenue. Crews spent the day on scene figuring out how to remove that truck, which was stuck partially inside. The homeowner, Susan Schaefer, told our KION News crew she was watching television around 7 a.m. when the truck crashed into her kitchen. After thinking it was an explosion, she then thought it was a fire because of the flashing lights on the truck.
And then there was another huge crash. And I ran into the living room, and it was a mess. And I tried to crawl over the debris because I saw flashing lights and I thought my house was on fire. And fortunately, it was just the blinkers from the truck.
Very lucky. Schaefer and her cats were able to make it out safely. The truck is owned by Monterey City Disposal. The driver said he had problems driving the truck uphill. He briefly got out of the truck to inspect the problem, then it got back in and the truck rolled downhill. He had minor injuries to his elbow.
Well, today the Monterey County Board of Supervisors discussed the county possibly buying the Capital One building in Salinas. The building has been empty since last year when the credit card processing center said it would leave town. Nearly 900 jobs were cut in that move. The Salinas Valley Chamber of Commerce and other business associations want the board to get public input first on the potential impacts to downtown and future development before making any final decisions.
Well, now fracking is now officially banned in Santa Cruz County. It is the first county in the state to make this move against the controversial oil drilling technique. Central Coast News reporter Ricardo Navarro in the newsroom now with more on why county leaders made this decision.
Well, Mark, Santa Cruz County supervisors hope this ban sends a message to state leaders. Today's decision comes almost a year after the county placed a temporary moratorium on fracking.
Today we are so thrilled that Santa Cruz County is the first county in California to ban fracking.
In a 5-0 vote, Santa Cruz County supervisors imposed the ban on fracking as well as on other onshore oil and gas development.
For the state to say drilling would be okay, but we'll do the research later is irresponsible public policy action, and so local communities like ours have got to stand up and say what's right for our communities.
Supervisor John Leopold led the movement. That process began last year. Last September, Santa Cruz County placed a temporary moratorium on fracking. For fracking opponents like Randa Solig, that was a step in the right direction, but the ban makes it permanent.
It's not just, an ordinance which can be overturned, but this is a permanent prohibition against oil and gas fracking.
Before the vote, 3 supervisors spoke of their concerns on fracking, saying that fracking procedures like those already used in Kern County could have an impact on the state's drought. The other big worry, that fracking could increase the danger of earthquakes.
We're near the San Andreas Fault. right? So we don't know how many of those wells are going to be compromised.
The ban comes as other Central Coast counties consider similar ordinances. Supervisor Leopold hopes Santa Cruz County is a good influence.
We are sending a message to the rest of the state that not only is it important to do it, but you can do it.
Supervisor Leopold said county leaders were advised that there is little chance they will face litigation from oil companies over today's decision. At 6, I have more on what neighboring counties say about this ban. In the newsroom, Ricardo Navarro, your Central Coast News.
A so-called predatory contractor will now spend a year in county jail. This update from the Santa Cruz County District Attorney's Office. According to investigators, Sonny Costello targeted elderly women. He told them they needed work done on their driveway or roof. Costello also reportedly made a YouTube video called Gypsy Girls How to Make Money, which may have been used to explain how to pull off scams. Costello will need to pay more than $8,000 in restitution plus fees and fines.
A 20-year-old accused of aggravated sexual assault with a child under the age of 14 was scheduled to be in court today. Oscar Lucas was arrested just last week by Greenfield Police in collaboration with several other agencies. The Salinas man is also accused of threatening to kill the alleged victim. Law enforcement reportedly found child porn during Lucas's arrest.
The U.S. Attorney's Office is looking into allegations that several King City police officers were involved in a towing scheme targeting the Latino community. This according to a letter sent to Assemblymember Luis Alejo, who asked the department to investigate. We were able to speak to the Assemblymember earlier by phone.
I think it certainly raises a profile that this isn't a usual case. It's very rare that these types of allegations come out of any community, and certainly when there's been these types of most serious allegations, we need to have our all our law enforcement agencies collaborating and certainly doing all they can to provide justice to victims.
The U.S. Attorney's Office says they have been in contact with the Monterey County District Attorney.
Well, were you stuck in this? Northbound lanes of Highway 101 right near King City are back open after a diesel spill this morning. That spill covered nearly a mile of the freeway. Around 90 gallons are believed to have spilled from that big rig. The Canal Street on-ramp was closed going northbound, as well as several lanes of Highway 101. The spill was cleaned up, though, after a few hours. And in Monterey, CAL FIRE, Pebble Beach, and other agencies responded to a small wildland fire at Highway 68 in Aguajito early this morning. 5 engines in total were called out just before 3. They were able to contain the quarter-acre fire in less than an hour after a tree fell on a power line.
And now a quick traffic alert to tell you about this evening. The Fremont and Seaside on-ramp for northbound Highway 1 will have a 1 lane closed for asphalt paving tomorrow. Then on Thursday, the off-ramp will be closed. And in Prunedale, overnight closures still in place for Highway 101. It's part of the Prunedale Improvement Project. Between 8:30 p.m. and 5:30 a.m., the Crazy Horse Canyon Road and northbound Highway 101 on-ramp will be closed. Flaggers will help control traffic, although drivers should expect some delays.
Also, watch out for this. More work at the Monterey Regional Airport, but this is all part of the federally mandated Runway Safety Area Improvements Project. The final clearing will take place next week. Full construction starts in June. Special barriers will be put up along the side of Highway 68 for construction vehicles.
Walmart is hiring. The company is hiring hundreds of tech workers to help expand its global e-commerce unit in the Silicon Valley. The Oakland Tribune is reporting that Walmart struck a deal to lease a 100,000 square foot property in Sunnyvale. That's the same city where Yahoo is located. The 9/11 Museum preparing to open to the general public. You'll meet a man who collected artifacts after the tragedy.
Plus, look at this, a slippery slope to climb at this Naval Academy.
This is Central Coast News, now in high definition.